Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's time for Brave in Action. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Heather Vickery. I am a success and leadership coach who has made Brave my business. Everything I do in my life and in my business revolves around this concept of bravery. And we are actually going to dig into what that means today and why it matters to you, or at least why it should matter to you. And I don't should very often. Those of you who know me know that I hate the words should and need to. I do not like them at all, but I want you to embrace bravery. So let me set the stage for you just a little bit. Imagine a slightly younger version of me, because this story is mine, it's about me, who was living the quintessential American dream, who was doing all the things that everyone told me I always should. I'd gone to college, I'd gotten a job, I'd found a nice boy, we'd gotten married, we'd had kids, we got a nice, big, fancy house. I'd even started running my own business. I did realize I bucked the tradition early on. I did realize early in my career that while I worked really well with people, it didn't work well for people. So after a couple of years in the workforce, I started my own business, and I have been an entrepreneur now for about 25 years. So that part aside, everything else, I had followed the path it just didn't even seem viable to not be living my life in exactly this path and exactly this way that I'd always been told I should want and strive for. And somehow I felt miserable all the time. I loved my children. I love my children. And I liked my work. I loved my community in the events and wedding industry, but it wasn't filling me with passion and joy. And also at this very same time, I came to terms with something that I'd been struggling with for years, which is that I was married to the wrong gender. That's the fancy way of saying I was gay and I was in a straight marriage, and it didn't feel good. And I'd spent many years trying to just make that all work for myself. We don't get married to get divorced. I didn't want to cause trauma. And I was living this very small, fear-based life where every decision I made was which will be less scary, which will cause the least amount of chaos, or make fewer people upset with me. I'll do that thing. I'll do that thing. And as my life expanded and all the ways I thought it was supposed to, a bigger house, a nicer car, we had more money with all these things, my soul was getting crushed. And I felt awful and small and broken. And then there was this morning, not this morning, but a morning where I was sitting at the breakfast table with my daughters, and I looked around at all of them feeling so low and broken. And I thought, what would I want for them? What would I tell them to do? If they came to me in this same situation, what would I want for them? And it was at that moment that I knew that if I wanted them to live big, bold, beautiful, brave lives, to be honest and authentic and vulnerable, and to reach for the stars, I had to show them how to do it. And it was at that moment where I decided that I was no longer going to live a fear-based life, but instead I was going to live a life of bravery and of choice and of intention. So I'm condensing quite a lot of emotions and experiences into this story for you to understand that there was this pivotal moment for me where all of the sudden I went from everything being fear-based to believing in limitless possibility. But here's what I didn't do. And this is what I want to talk to you all about today. I didn't go, I'm going to be fearless. I didn't do that. I was scared. I was afraid. It was a terrifying experience. And I am still scared and afraid all the time about all sorts of things. But the thing about fear is it allows us the opportunity to embrace bravery. This misconception about fearlessness. Society has told us that we should want to strive for fearlessness, that shows our strength and our courage, and it does not. It's for sociopaths and 3-year-olds. Fearlessness is based in nothing. If you are fearless, you're not actually looking at things and creating solutions. You're not avoiding pitfalls. Fearlessness means you might walk in the middle of the street all the time, just assuming that you're never going to get hit by a car. But guess what, folks? Eventually you're going to get hit by a fucking car, right? So we need our fears. Our fears are there to tell us something. And what I like to help people do, what I do for myself on a daily basis, is get a little cozy with those fears, right? Understand what our fears are, what they're rooted in, why we give them so much control and power over our lives, and what might happen if we decided that instead of living in that fear box, we chose to be afraid and do the thing anyway. All right. What might happen? What is possible if you decide today that one thing that scares the shit out of you isn't going to stop you? It can scare you, but you're still going to take action. You're going to take one step, make one small intentional goal or plan or action towards changing the story, towards getting unstuck or unchaotic or unhappy, right? And so that's where we start to talk about what is brave? What does it mean to be brave? Well, have you ever heard the phrase that success is self-defined? It is. We can talk about that later. We will talk about that later in a different Brave in Action. Today, I want to share with you that bravery must be self-defined. And for me and for all of my clients, and I can see several of them are here in the room. Hello, my darlings. I love you. Every day, we must define what's brave for us in that moment. We've always been taught or told coming out is brave. It's super brave. Super brave. I'm sorry. I'm getting all sorts of notifications and I thought I had them all turned off, but I don't. Lost my train of thought and I apologize. Not cool. Bravery, big, bold, bravery. Coming out is brave. Quitting your job to start a side hustle is brave. It is. It's super brave. Of course it is. Right? Climbing a mountain is brave. Getting a divorce is brave. Those things are brave. We know they're brave. They've already been defined as brave. What I'm working on is revolutionizing this idea of choosing everyday brave. Because for some people, some of the time, getting out of bed is brave. Sending an email is brave. Asking for help is brave. Saying, I don't know how is brave. Saying no is brave. Choosing to eat a cupcake for somebody who struggles to eat is brave. Choosing to eat an apple for people who struggle to eat fruit is brave. Whatever it is, sometimes it's leaving our house. There's so many ways to choose bravely. I actually have a podcast called the Brave Files Podcast, and I interview people in the podcast who are stepping out of fear and into bravery in every possible way. And we are redefining what it means to be everyday brave. And my favorite thing is when people who listen to the podcast or who follow my speaking or who join us here every week for Brave in Action, when they've done something that feels brave to them and they send me a message and they say, Heather, I had this conversation today. I gave this presentation today. I asked for this today and it felt so brave and I thought of you and I wanted to tell you. And here's what happens. When you define bravery on your own terms on a daily basis, you feel more brave. It changes you physiologically. It gives you confidence. You start to stand taller and your shoulders go back and you smile a little more and you know that that choice that you're making on that day is getting you a little bit closer to the life that you want to live, to the way that you want to feel, to the joy you want to experience, to the goals you want to accomplish, right? You really get to decide for yourself what is going to be considered brave. And when we own our bravery, when we say, yes, this thing today was brave, we start to seek brave out more often. We look for new opportunities. We start to seek bigger and better and more juicy experiences and moments for ourselves. And the more we choose brave and the bigger we win, we get bigger payoffs and rewards. And my favorite part of all of that is that it's contagious to the people around you. Again, I see Angela and Barbie and Rebecca in the room. And I know that those women in particular inspire one another to make brave choices. When they do things like, I sent this pitch out to speak at this conference, or I applied to be a guest on this podcast, or I spent 20 minutes today writing and it was really hard, but I did it anyway. They then find themselves inspired to push through on one little thing themselves. You can be inspired and you can find bravery and you can find connection and you can build community around owning your bravery and defining it yourself in such unusual, wonderful ways. When we choose behavior that is contagious, and I guess I should rephrase that to say all of our behavior is contagious. If you're in a shitty mood, you're probably going to put the people around you in a shitty mood. It doesn't mean that we don't have shitty moods. We do. We have shitty moods all the time, but we have a choice. Are we going to sit in that space and feel that for a long time, or maybe just for a minute and then get it out? As one of the things I do with my partner on a consistent basis is I say, I have to talk through this. I have to process this. I don't want solutions from you. I just want to get it out, and I'll be mad and I'll be angry and I'll yell and I'll scream and then I'll feel better. And I'll go, okay, now what do I want to do about it? And in that moment is brave. Now what am I going to do about it? That moment is brave. I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling right now. Is there something I can change? Maybe there's not. If there's not, can we change our mindset about it? That's brave. Changing your mindset is brave. Sitting in silence, if you are somebody who always has to have noise, is brave. Not owning other people's thoughts and opinions of you, that's brave. Feels good to say this person did something that I didn't feel good about, but I'm not going to own that. That's about them and not about me. That's a brave decision, right? We get to redefine bravery every day on our own terms. Sometimes, my friends, the very bravest thing you can do is maybe nothing. And I'll give you a personal story that's happening right now. I am in the midst of so much wonderful, exciting growth and chaos, onboarding new people, having to switch my team around and change things out. And it's all for the greater good. We're really excited about all the things we're going to produce and put out coming up. I have a book that's coming out in just a few weeks. We are about to send it over to the printer this week, and I'm on like high alert all the time. We have 4 kids. We're traveling here. We're going here. We're doing that. 4 drop-offs, 4 different schools. Like all this crazy shit is happening. And just before I came on here live with all of you, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you, I thought, damn, I'm tired. Because I have been going since my eyeballs opened this morning, and I am tired. And the list of things that must get done in order for me to achieve my goals is long. But every single one of the things on that list doesn't have to get checked off today. So just before I came on here to spend some time with you for the Brave in Action live show, I thought about what really does need to get done today so that all of the other people who are here to support me and working on my team can do their jobs. What's that list? And can the rest of it wait until tomorrow and or Friday? And if the answer is yes, I am going to clear a little space and I am going to take a bath with an awesome historical fiction book that I am reading right now. And I am going to have a glass of champagne and I am going to stop and I'm going to be slow. And that for me today is braver than pushing through when I feel like I'm going to break. Pushing and pushing and pushing when you feel like you are going to break does not help you. What helps you is taking a moment and rejuvenating and refreshing and coming back and kicking ass the next day. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is nothing. And yes, my love, you can do hard things. Of course you can do hard things. You do hard things all the time. I do. Pam is here. I see Pam. Pam does hard things all the time, right? All the time. But it doesn't mean that you have to always do hard things. Sometimes you can say no to the hard things. And sometimes you can embrace things that don't feel hard, but that feel easy or comfortable instead. I've been saying for years, and people hear this quote and they think of me, everything we really want is just on the other side of uncomfortable. And it's true. But sometimes it's okay to be comfortable for a little bit, right? Whatever it is that is going to most serve you and support you and nourish your soul at that moment gets to be brave for you. Why does this matter? It matters because thoughts become things. and they change our energy and the way we feel in our body. Angela's here, Coach Angela. She is a member of our Intentionally Brave Entrepreneurs coaching team. And Angela is so good at this. She does this with our IBE people all the time. Where are you feeling that? When you say that, how does it feel in your body, right? We want to know these things. That's brave. When we choose to be thoughtful and intentional, when we use the BRAVE method, which is boundaries, reassessment, reframing, resilience, action, accountability, vulnerability, and then expansion and empowerment, when we do that and we are thoughtful about it and intentional about it, we feel better. And that is the goal. If we want a life and a business that we deeply love and feel passionate and compassionate about, if we want those things, then we need to feel good doing them. We deserve to feel good doing them. But that will not happen if your life and your business and your day runs you versus you running it. And so my goal, my hopes and my dreams for you is that you will implement whatever elements of the BRAVE method most resonate with you so that you can feel good in your life, in every aspect of your life. And does that mean that sometimes you won't feel bad or be angry or be mad or be hurt or be sad? No, it doesn't. We have all of these feelings. We have all of these emotions, but it does mean that perhaps you can let go of judging yourself in those moments and give yourself a little love and self-compassion and grace, and then decide what you want to do. What do you want to do next? Because sitting and thoughtfully thinking, this is how I feel, this is what I'm experiencing. Thank you, body, mind, for giving me this thought and this experience. Now, what do I want to do with it? That, my friends, is brave. I talk about all of this in my upcoming book, Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap. I went there, folks. I went there with the title, Fuck Fearless. I don't want you to be fearless. Fuck the idea of being fearless, because it's bullshit and it is not going to get you a life and a business that you love from top to bottom. Fearlessness means you are not being thoughtful, and you are thoughtful. I know you're thoughtful. So in the book, I break down the BRAVE method, and I teach it to you via memoir style sections and case study sections. I call them Brave Spotlights, where I highlight clients and podcast guests who have done this work, and they are shining examples of this work. And we have sections called Brave Action, where you can go and do the work on your own to achieve the things that you want. The BRAVE method isn't an enter at A and exit at Z and have this response kind of method. That's not what it is. The BRAVE method is an approach to thinking creatively and strategically, to solve problems, to plan, to dream, to design, to get unstuck, to get motivated, to be thoughtful, intentional, and actionable. The BRAVE method is a resource for you to feel good about all of the things in your life, even the things that feel bad. You can feel good about how you process them and what you think about them. We're not going to feel great all the time, but we can be in control of how we process things and what we choose to allow to have power over us. One of my previous podcast guests, who was actually a guest in once a month, we do a guest expert training in the Intentionally Brave Entrepreneurs program. And she was our guest expert yesterday, Annie P. Ruggles. I hope you're watching this. I friggin' love Annie P. Ruggles. She is amazing. And something she said on my podcast was, something can suck. It can be really hard, and it can make me really mad, and it can be really sad, and it still doesn't have to matter. Think about that for a minute. Something can be hurtful, but it doesn't have to matter. We don't have to give it power. It can just exist as something that was hurtful, but it doesn't have to inform us. I love that. And I want to know how you are out choosing bravely every day. Today, what is brave for you? Comment below and let me know today, this moment, what feels brave to you. Everything counts, because you get to decide. You are redefining bravery. You are embracing everyday brave because it matters, because it puts you in control of your life. It helps you stay empowered and excited and connected and engaged in your life, in your community, in your business. I am here for it. I am here for you. I invite all of you to have a conversation with me anytime. It's my absolute pleasure. You can send me a DM or an email, heather@vickeryandco.com, and say, Heather, I want to talk, and we'll talk. That's it. We'll talk. I'll support, I'll listen, I'll hold space. Comment below, engage. We are here every week for the weekly live show. I have to tell you, we're contemplating switching the day. How do y'all like having this on Wednesdays? Would you prefer to have it on Tuesdays? Would that be better for you? I'm thinking maybe of switching to Tuesdays. We're going to maybe test that out just a little bit. If you are excited about the work that I'm doing and you would like an advanced reader copy of Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap, and you're willing to then share it and tell other people about it, let me know. You can visit, and Angela, I'm going to ask you, would you type this into the chat box for me? Visit vickeryandco.com/brave circle. It's a Google form. It's going to take you to a Google form. And you can go in and see all the different ways you can support the book launch and me. And I would be eternally, eternally grateful for your support. And then you could get your hands on an advanced reader copy if you would like to have one. Pamela says, I needed this reminder today to reframe language for myself, to claim my pauses. Oh, today sleep is brave. Yes, my friend. Lots of days sleep is brave because we don't always allow ourselves to rest. Rest is incredible brave action. I'm so grateful for those of you who chose to be here with me live. If you're watching this on the replay, you can still comment, you can still engage. I want to talk to all of you. It is my most unbelievable honor and joy to be a tiny part of your brave journey. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week, the Brave in Action live show. This is Heather Vickery reminding you today and every day to go out and choose bravely. Bye, friends.